Welcome to the Robotics Through Science Fiction podcast. I'm Robin Murphy, and in this episode, I'll discuss drones using Kelly Robson's novella Gods, Monsters, and the Lucky Peach as a teachable moment. It's an excellent novella, and drones turn out to be a time traveler's best friend. Gods, Monsters, and the Lucky Peach is Kelly Robson's Nebula and Hugo Best nominee for Gods, Monsters, and the Lucky Peach is Kelly Robson's Nebula and Hugo Best Novella nominee. It's a surprising take on time travel. What if you went back in time, but not to study history, like in Connie Willis's The Doomsday book and her short stories, but went back to understand a river ecology so that you could restore it post-climate change collapse? And suppose you went back to study Mesopotamia, to study the Tigris and Euphrates. Would the locals think of you as a god or as a monster? And from a robotics point of view, if you did go back in time, what if you brought along a few satellites and lots of small drones? Robson builds and weaves together two very different worlds, a near-future world and a past world, each interesting, consistent, and surprising. The future world is rich with technology, much of which is being used to terraform the Earth after the ecology collapse. Min wins a contract to go back in time to spend 3 weeks studying Mesopotamia. She wins the contract by cleverly minimizing the number of scientists and amount of equipment that she will bring. One of her team's key tools that will allow her to reduce the team footprint are drones. One set are called camera drones, and another called WASP. They collect the samples, plus there's a weaponized security drones that the health and safety officer has access to. The past world is rich with culture and political maneuvering between the priesthood, which is exploiting the unexplained phenomena from the gods to gain the upper hand over the monarchy, and the king, who's expected to defend the realm against monsters. The use of drones is realistic for at least 4 reasons. Well, the first one is they're included in the team's gear. Yay! Drones are more correctly known as small unmanned aerial systems, are becoming really common in public safety, insurance, construction, movie making. Any application where a bird's eye view or the ability to hover and stare would be helpful. For $1,000, you can already go to Amazon.com and buy a drone that carries a high-resolution 4K camera, avoids obstacles, and has the software to map an area, including its elevation down to 4 centimeters. There's no reason to believe that we won't be having more drones in the future. A second realistic aspect of the drone is their specialization, or what robotics is called heterogeneity. The camera drones zoom around providing camera views, but don't touch anything. However, the WASP drones are built to physically interact with the environment in order to take samples of mud and collect insects and that sort of thing. In real life, engineers take a similar design approach. They design and build platforms for specific applications. The post office uses a specialized mail truck with a steering wheel on the right side to make deliveries to mailboxes more efficient, but it uses standard 18-wheelers for hauling mail between cities. Likewise, the design of a package delivery drone looks very different than a drone for aerial photography. Form follows function. Another touch of realism is that the control of the drones in Gods, Monsters, and the Lucky Peach is advanced, but it's plausible. The novel doesn't describe the user interface that enables the team to specify what they want the robot to do, although it's implied it's through some sort of natural language commands or a spatial markup system. In either type of interface, the possible actions and tasks for the drones have to be sufficiently abstract so that a person can quickly and easily specify a task, similar to how Ryan Gosling directed his surveillance drone in Blade Runner 2049. He did it with a few words and gestures. In the novella, we see the team tasking the camera drones to sweep an area, to track a person, or a horse, one of the characters loves horses, or to fall into a formation, such as forming a circle around an area or person of interest. It's believable, indeed, it has to be true, that it's this easy to task drones, otherwise drones won't be adopted by users. But the most realistic aspect of the drones is their bounded rationality. Drones can't do what they aren't programmed to do. In a pivotal scene, Min tries to use the camera drones as weapons, but the camera drones are built with obstacle avoidance. They can fly really fast at a person, they can get really close, but they can't hit them. And there's no way to disable the function, which makes sense if you're giving drones to a general climate change users. Designers would bound the capability so the user wouldn't hurt themselves or crash the drone. Min doesn't have time to suddenly transform from a geologist into a computer programmer in some sort of Deus Ex hacker twist. It's a delight to see the drones stay within the bounds of what they're programmed for. Small quibble, the drones seem to have infinite power and the ability to self-store and maintain themselves. Usually robots require some sort of care and feeding. There's just no such thing as a free lunch, and we all have to put up our tools and clean up after ourselves. But on the other hand, it is the future. So, my recommendation, definitely read this novel. It made both the Nebula and Hugo nominee lists for a reason. Now, some people have complained it starts out slow. I didn't think so, but if you do, hang in there because it is a setup for a very big payoff. If you want to learn more about small unmanned aerial vehicles, check out Chapter 1 in my new textbook, Introduction to AI Robotics, the second edition, 2019 from MIT Press. But do be aware that obstacle avoidance in real-world drones is not 100% reliable, so if a drone comes screaming at you, duck. And do remember to subscribe to our newsletter and YouTube channel so you won't miss a thing.